below. Okay, so great to see all of you who are joining us live right now. Do share with us within the chat. For those of you who are joining us live, what are your top learnings from yesterday's session? Because I know many of you joined us since yesterday. You know, if you were here for day one, type in 1 in the chat. If you are here for day 2, only type in 2 in the chat so we know where are you joining us from. So while you are sharing with us within the chat your top learnings from yesterday's session, let me do a quick recap for all of you. Okay, I see a number of you who are joining us for just today only. Hey, welcome to day 2, right? And then I see some of you join us in day 1 and then attended for half a day. And you know, today is an awesome day to be joining us if it is your very first time joining the Growth and Wealth Roundtable, because in today's session you will be learning a lot of insights, including a potential strategy on how you can potentially generate daily options income from the financial markets. And it's going to be very exciting. How many of you are excited for that? Type in excited in the chat if you are excited to learn how you can potentially earn daily options income from the market. Awesome. Great to see the excited coming into the chat. And once again, for those of you who are joining us on the live stream, hey, if you don't want to miss out on the exclusive bonuses that only for those of you who are joining us in the webinar will get, including an exclusive playbook on how to monetize in the age of AI by Vince Tan, worth $297 US, make sure you join us in this webinar. All right. So for those of you who join us up until the end of day 2 across 2 days, then you will be able to, will be entitled to these bonuses as well. As you can see within the chat, right, we've prepared an exclusive digital product bonus just for you, thanks to Vince Tan. Okay, so a quick recap of what was covered yesterday. Yesterday, Vince shared with you how is it that you can start leveraging off the day and age that we are in to build up your 8-figure startup solo empire. And my question to you is, how many of you are actually looking to build your own solo empire and business in the age of AI right now? Just type in me in the chat if that is you, because what a great time it is to be in entrepreneurship. Because research has shown, I read the news recently, that in the US, at least, there has been a resurgence of entrepreneurship that coincided with the time when AI rolled into the scene. And the reason is very simple. It's because the barrier of entry towards creating your own business, creating your own side hustle, being able to bring your vision into fruition, right, has been closed thanks to AI, and you can do it in a very rapid manner. Okay, so great to see those of you who are solo empire builders. Lots of me's coming into the chat. Thank you, Jolene, Alicia, Naren, Karen, Ilel, right? And then how about the rest of you, right? If you are also building out your solo empire, type in me in the chat. And this is the benefit about joining us live throughout all these events, is to be visible within our community. If you are in business, you need to be visible. So at the very least, when you're joining us in these live events, hey, do a shout out, share with us, participate, so that people start getting familiarized with your names. And who knows, in the future, when you join us in our live events, you'll be like, hey, you know, aren't you Atika from the Growth and Wealth Roundtable? Or, you know, aren't you Sri or Ravi? Yeah, you know, I saw you really active online. It's great to finally meet you live in person, because this is what we do in Scalendo. Not only do we have online events to create a platform for our community members and partners to start putting themselves out into the world, we also do have live in-person events as well. And just out of curiosity, how many of you will be joining us for our live in-person events in KL? Just type in KL in the chat if you are, or maybe if you're interested, just type in KL in the chat if you're interested in joining us in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, specifically in our Puchong office for one of our live trainings, these coming weekends. Okay, so I see a couple of KLs coming in from Alicia, Atika, Karen as well. So for those of you who missed out on the opportunity yesterday in the opportunity to join us live in person, once again, I'm going to share with you the links within the chat. I will be conducting what we call AI build your AI marketing images and videos, including your landing pages and websites in just 2 days. And this is exclusively for our Scalendo community members right now. So if you are in the room with us right now, guess what? You're part of our Scalendo community, and we would like to invite you to join us for this session. You can go to scalendo.com/AIF. As you can see within the chat, that will be happening this weekend, July 25th to 26th, where I will be diving deeper into how is it that you can start mastering the AI fundamentals for your business, for your marketing, to start generating amazing images and videos so that you will never get stuck on what content to create anymore. But most importantly, it is able to create these content and materials in a purposeful manner. Because what's the point of just creating content out there? It needs to serve a purpose for our business. And the purpose of our business is, of course, to drive transformation, to serve our audiences, all right? And of course, monetize along the way. And how many of you would like to monetize? Give me a $ in the chat if you'd like to monetize your skills, your expertise, together with the help of AI, because it is entirely possible right now to do so. All right, so great to see the $ that are coming into the chat right now. So if you want that, definitely join in at the AI fundamentals for marketing, images, videos at scalendo.com/AIF. The link is in the chat. It's happening on July 25th to 26th. If you can't join in for that session, there's also another session the following weekend on August 1st to 2nd. It is a full day training from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So it is it's hands-on training. Make sure you have your laptops ready, and it's going to be really, really exciting. Even if you are starting from zero tech experience, not to worry. We start from scratch, and it's going to be very friendly and hands-on. And to support that, right? You understand the tools, you understand the strategies. How is it that you create a business out of it? Then this is where we share with you what we call the strategic partnership and events funnel system, right? Or what we would like to call the SPEF system. Okay, so just like SPF to protect you from the sun. Well, this is SPF to protect you from losing money and making money instead. If you're interested in the strategic partnership event funnel masterclass, that's happening on the 27th till 28th of July. That's happening next Monday to Tuesday. Also live in person in our Puchong office. It is happening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can head on over to scalendo.com/SPEF system. All right, it's scalendo.com/SPEF system. All right, and how many of you are in, by the way? Type in into the chat if you are in, and I will be able to see you live in person very, very soon together with our partners. All right, so great. I see Samantha is in. All right, and then a couple of you previously you shared. Okay, Atika as well. Sri, awesome. Karen, in. Awesome. So looking forward to see you live in person. Both of the links are available in the chat right now. So that's your opportunity to be hands-on together with us as well. All right. And, for those of you who aren't able to make it make sure you stay connected within our community, check your emails. Sometimes our emails go into spam so that you don't miss out on any of these opportunities, right? If you happen to see our emails in spam, hey, click the "this is not spam" button or whitelist our emails to make sure that you don't miss opportunities just like this. Because other than sharing the opportunities of the 8-figure startup from Vince yesterday, we also learned about leadership and sales mastery from Kelvin Gore, tapping into the DISC method in terms of how is it that we can identify the different personalities of our audience when we are speaking to them. When you're speaking to a potential prospect, someone who potentially wants to buy from you, how many of you agree that you actually need to tailor your message rather than a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, right? Type in yes in the chat if you agree. It's like, hey, you can't just be expecting to speak the same script over and over again and expect every single person that you speak with to respond to you. No, that's not the case. We need to tailor our message based on the individual's personality and adapt to the conversation. Okay? So I see a lot of yeses coming in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that was from Kelvin, and he also offered a 2-day masterclass as well for those of you who want to level up your influence and leverage more on all of these sales and leadership skills moving forward to drive people towards your transformation and also to monetize along the way as well. All right. So later on, I'll be sharing. The team will be sharing you a link on how you can get all of these masterclasses that are fully sponsored thanks to our experts. All right. And other than that, we also learned about risk management for personal finance by Cheryl, where she shared with us, what are the key areas when it comes to personal finance that we need to take note of that very often we may take for granted, because it's easy to hey, be climbing up our career ladders, building our businesses, right? And then getting all the money coming in. But the question is, are you protecting the downside? Okay, are you protecting the downside? This is one of the major lessons that I've learned from a gentleman named Sir Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. He wrote a book called Screw It, Just Do It. Okay? And one of the principles that he shares is protect the downside. Okay, protect the downside. So Cheryl shared with us how is it that we can protect the downside of our financial decisions so that we can continue growing our wealth as well. And not only that, we had Anne-Marie who shared with us the power of speaking so that people can actually listen to us. And how many of you agree that, if you had the power to speak persuasively in a way where it captures people's attention, people hang on to you every single word, that is actually a very, very powerful skill. Type in powerful in the chat if you agree that is really, really powerful, because too many people, when you're in the room, it can be in the meeting, it can be, speaking with stakeholders or in front of an audience. A lot of the times, many people feel that they aren't heard, aren't understood. It seems like nobody wants to listen to us. And hey, that's the downside of not being able to speak in a way that captures people's attention. So Anne-Marie shared with us a very powerful framework. She calls the 3 C's framework on how to capture people's attention while also building up our confidence as well. All right, so great to see the powerfuls coming into the chat. And by the way, make sure that you actively participate throughout today's session, because as we bring up our experts today, they will be here to answer your potential questions, right? As long as it is related to the topic on hand. So the more that you participate, the more that you will be able to get out of this session. And we have a saying, when it comes to making money, money requires energy. All right. Money requires energy. So can we all agree, at least for the next couple of hours, to participate at 100% with energy? Give me 100% in the chat if we can all agree to participate at 100%. Because the more energy that you invest and you put out during this session, the more that you will get back in multiples. It's just like investing. Hey, and right now, all we're asking for you is for your participation. Now that's more like it. I love the 100% coming in. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Naren, Sri, Atika, Ravi, Susan, Alicia, Suwon with a 200% as well. And the rest of you, keep it coming into the chat. Thank you very much. Renee, let's keep up the engagement and participation because it's going to be an amazing next couple of hours together. All right. So that's on speaking so people actually listen. Okay, so people actually listen, people actually pay attention to you. And not only that, our key guest speaker for today is Terence Tan. Yesterday, he shared with us the opportunities, the money mindset that we need to have to spot opportunities within the market so that regardless of what happens in the marketplace, hey, you know, there's a war going on in the Middle East. We don't know what, the president of the United States is going to say over the weekend, how it will move the markets, how policies will shift. Whenever there's movement in the market, I want you to have that mindset that there is opportunity. Okay, when there is chaos in markets, there is opportunity. And how many of you are starting to see the opportunities in the marketplace? Type in opportunity in the chat if you start seeing the opportunities in the marketplace. And by the way, thank you very much, Max, for saying, love you, Ching, with your high level of energy. Thank you. Okay, so yes, start spotting opportunities because there will be plenty, especially within the Scalendo ecosystem. And when Terence comes up at 8 o'clock later to share with you his strategy, you don't want to miss out on it. He'll be sharing with you exactly how is it that he spots opportunities within the markets by leveraging off options trading to generate anything from $200 or more every single day. All right. So you want to make sure that you stay on for that, because not only that, yesterday we also shared with you from Kingsley on the wealth generation for the next generation, right? Especially for those of you who are parents. How many of you are parents, by the way? Just type in 1 in the chat if you are a parent, okay? And it was a very, very important session with the different frameworks on how we can start thinking about creating wealth for the generation. Thank you for all of the ones coming into the chat. Awesome, okay? And not only that, Dr. Rebecca Lee also shared with us the recalibration code. How is it that we can start recalibrating ourselves so that we are aligned to our higher purpose, so that we don't leak our energy, and so that we can continue staying on the path towards our higher purpose and creation, and of course, generating money in a way as well. And Dr. Rebecca will be sharing with us in a very quick bit on going deeper into this as well. And Richard, our architect from Singapore, shared with us on life design, how to think like an architect as well to build the solid foundations in our life. And Kamala shared with us a very, very important message. How is it with all the success that we are building that we don't burn out as well? All right, because in Scalendo, we believe about long-term sustainability. As we build, we want to also be able to enjoy, nurture ourselves, and of course, grow as well. And I also shared with you the insights on how we leverage off AI to generate, seven figures, right, in one of our projects. We've shown you the transactions, and we've shown you some of the process and ways as well, right? And how many of you would like, once again, the links to access the free, fully sponsored bonus masterclasses? By the way, right? Just type in yes in the chat if you would like that link once again to all of our partners. All right, so great. Thanks for all the yeses coming in. So the team will be sharing the link with you within the chat. It's at scalendo.com forward slash TGWR series. Okay, it's at scalendo.com forward slash TGWR series, where you can secure your spots for all of the fully sponsored classes. Okay, so this is our gift from our experts to you. So make sure that you not only take it on, but make sure that you show up for these programs as well, because one single insight, one single strategy could be the difference that makes all of the difference. All right. So make sure you click on the link in the chat to secure your spot. And my question to you is, how many of you are ready to learn in day 2? Type in ready in the chat if you're ready to learn for day 2. And by the way, for those of you who are joining us on the live stream, make sure you go to scalendo.com forward slash TGWR. The link should be in the description or in the comments to join us in this webinar room. All right, great to see all of the readies coming into the chat. So up next, we have Dr. Rebecca Lee, who will be diving deeper into the recalibration code. How is it that you can recalibrate yourself towards your higher purpose and aligning yourself towards the wealth that you absolutely deserve? Without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to Dr. Rebecca Lee. All right, and I want to make sure that all of you, all right, make sure that we give a warm welcome to Dr. Rebecca as well. All right, the floor is yours.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Give me a minute. I get my files. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. If you could set it to the slide rule.
Yes. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, good. How is everyone doing? Today is day 2. Do you want to have the same high energy as Cheng Yu? How many of you want to have the same high energy as Cheng Yu? Type me in the chat. Good. Naren, Karen, Ravi, yes. Alicia, thank you. Yes. Good. Samantha, Suan, yes. Okay, and welcome back, everyone. For those of you who were with us yesterday, can you remember what did we look at? Can you still remember? How many of you remember what did we discuss yesterday? Anyone? Yes, correct. Samantha, yes, goal. Okay, we begin by looking at one real goal, correct? The value of that goal as well. And the hidden cost. When the goal keeps being delayed, there will be a hidden cost behind that involved. So for those of you joining us today for the first time, you still can follow, no worries. You can follow easily. I'll be repeating some of it tonight as well. So later on, I want to take you into one simple question. When we already know something needs to change, why does the change still not happen yet? Let me ask you something simple. How many of you already know at least one thing that you should do, but for some reason, somehow or other, it still have not happened yet? Oh, Naren, you, okay. Who else? Who else? Karen, wow, okay. Thank you for sharing, yeah. Okay, you see, this is very common. Anne-Marie, procrastination due to fear. Procrastination, Renee. Oh, this is actually very common. We may know that, sometimes, like, for instance, we may need to delegate, promote, check our health, complete a project, control our diet, have a conversation with somebody or make a decision. But knowing does not always create movement. Do you agree? We can actually think of that. We say, yes, we want to do this, we want to do that. But no movements. So tonight, we look at what helps us move from knowing into action. Yesterday, the main point was this. When a goal matters, delay is not neutral. There is value in achieving it, correct? Because is it your goal? You set a goal. Definitely there will be an outcome. Your outcome, there will be value to it, whether it's monetary or something else. Definitely there will be a value that tie into your goal. This is why we say there is a value in achieving it. There is also a hidden loss when it stays delayed. What if it delays for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? That it keep delaying, keep postponing, right? So the gap between the value and the loss is where signals begin to appear. Okay, and this is what I call the 1% leak. You see, what is this 1% leak? We are talking about energy here. Let me just now, let's say that Chinese energy is very high, very good. Why we need to have high energy? We need to maintain our energy at the higher dimension. You see, when our energy is high, we can actually do better things. We can actually attract a lot of good stuff to us. Like we can attract more noble people. Do you like to have more noble people in your life? Noble people come to you automatically, and then you can magnetize people. That means you have the magnetism, especially when you do sales, especially when you are in business, especially when you're dealing with other people, human connection. So you need to have this kind of magnetism, right? So when your energy is high, your magnetism is actually also very good. Trust me for that. All right. And especially when you're doing sales, do you want the client to say, okay, sell to me now, without you even need to push for it? Isn't that good? And for instance, when you're doing business, you like to have more opportunities coming to you naturally. Because energy in the universe is free. Why don't we go and tap onto this energy? But you must take note on this. We ourselves cannot have any leakages within us. You see, when we have leakages, later on, it will actually accumulate and build up. That is 1%, 1%, 1%. Over time, it will actually accumulate. When we start to accumulate, means that our energy within us, it will leak out, it will actually diminish. All right, it will reduce. When we reduce, they will start to have a lot of blockages. When your body start to have blockages, that's where even opportunity in front of you also you can't see. All right, noble people will not come to you. All right, so your energy that you emit out will not be as strong. All right, so that's why the magnetism also will be reduced. So this is actually links to what? The signal. So a small unread signal or repeated pattern that quietly affects us. It could affect our time, our energy, our money, our opportunity, and also potential. Yesterday, we also talked about awareness. Awareness is powerful. Clarity is important. But we all know that insight alone is not enough. You may understand exactly what is happening, but still not moving. However, this does not mean that you are weak. It means we need to understand what kind of action is required that is aligned with our goals and our desired outcomes. And also how to measure whether the action is actually creating change for us. That is why the life recalibration framework does not stop at awareness, clarity, and alignment. In the full life recalibration framework, which I talked about yesterday, after awareness, clarity, and alignment, we move into activation and then transformation. Activation asks, what is the right next action based on the signal. Transformation asks, what changed? How do I know? This is important because many people take action, but the action is still aimed at the symptom, not the signal. That's the difference. And sometimes people feel busy, but there is no measurable progress. A lot of people come and tell you, I'm super busy, I'm very busy, I'm very busy. When you ask them, you're busy or what? I don't know, I'm just super busy, correct? It's very common, right? Let me give you a simple example here. The exhausted entrepreneur. An entrepreneur says, I have no time. I'm super busy. So the usual response to this kind of situation is that try another productivity tool or hire another person, create a stricter schedule. But what if the real signal here is actually not time? If the real signal is control, trust, delegation, or boundary, then the right next action for this entrepreneur may be very specific. Just hand over one responsibility, delegate, have one clear conversation, or stop carrying something that should not be carried alone. That means this person might be carrying too many responsibilities. That is the difference between reacting to the symptom and acting on the signal. Yesterday, I briefly introduced the idea of inner feng shui. Tonight, let me take you one layer deeper and show you why it matters when we are trying to move from knowing into action. Why do people respond differently? People can face a very similar situation. One person notices the signal and adjusts. Another person delays, dismisses it, becomes emotional affected, or continues repeating the same pattern over again and again. Why does this happen? It is not because one person is more intelligent or more capable than the other. Very often, the difference lies in the inner environment. This is what I call the inner feng shui. It is the inner arrangements, the inner information that influences what we notice, how we interpret a situation, and how we respond. How we respond, especially when we are under pressure. For the environmental feng shui, the outer environment, we normally use a lopan, a Chinese compass, to do the measurement, right? We check on the direction, we check on the, the chi flow, the water mouth, everything, correct? Those who actually learned feng shui before, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. For the inner environment within our body, we also use a special kind of inner compass. We only use our mobile phone. Of course, there will be an app that you need to download using the mobile phone, using your voice. So this is actually a tool to help us identify which area within our body system at the point in time, all right, based on the priority indicated through your own system, that we need to look at it, all right, that we need to deal with it based on the priority required by your own body. So with this, using your mobile phone, you can actually check on your internal feng shui, your inner feng shui, anytime, anywhere. All right, just using your mobile phone, using your voice. All right. So the purpose of this is not to guess or make assumptions, because in life, because time is very precious to us, correct? Because you see, anything that you talk about, making money, achieving our goals, time is an important factor. We cannot afford to waste time. So if we continue to do a lot of trial and errors to achieve our goals, when are you really going to achieve it? Correct? So you see, with this particular inner feng shui, the knowledge, inner feng shui information here, so it actually gives us another layer of information so that we can actually map this information with the recalibration process more clearly, more precisely, based on your own internal system. What is required by your body that asking you, hey, look here, this is actually what you should be doing now, not that. Okay? So once we understand where the priority may be, we can then ask another question. What needs to be reflected on? What needs to reset? And what aligned action should come next? This is where the 5Rs system comes in. Once we have a clearer picture of where attention is needed, the 5R system helps us work through it. This is Dr. Rebecca Lee's system, the 5Rs. The first R is reaction. What is my immediate response? R number 2, reflection. What is really happening beneath it? Once we are aware of all this, and then the next one is actually reset. What pattern or direction needs to change? Once you know that, renewal. What new intention or action will I commit to make that change, to achieve my results? What measurable change will show that progress is really happening? Okay, so all this you tie into the 5 steps that we talked about yesterday: the awareness, clarity, alignment, activation, and transformation. Okay, this gives you a glimpse of how the deeper process works, where the 5 R's guide the deeper how. In the full masterclass, you will not just listen to concepts. You will work with one real goal and begin a 60-day recalibration challenge. So the idea is simple: one goal, one signal, one aligned action, and one measurable indicator. At the end of 60 days, we will reconnect again in a progress sharing Zoom. So all of you actually can reflect on what changed, what became clearer, and what new signals appear along the way. This helps maintain the connection and turn learning into real application. You have joined many other classes. Okay? You have learned a lot of things. All of you are experienced learners. So do you want to enhance what you have learned so far? By knowing your own signals, once you are able to know yourself, what is actually your body is ready for change, telling you what to do. If you're able to follow that, if you're able to tap into your own body signals, to remove the blockages, to avoid blockages, to increase your own energy, to have a better magnetism, to be able to attract more noblemen to your life, to be able to achieve your goals in a shorter time. Would you like that? So I would like to invite you to join my full 2-day masterclass tomorrow and the following night. So you come with one real goal, not a perfect goal, just one will do. We'll walk through the signal, the hidden cause, and the framework, inner feng shui, and the practical pathway towards your 60-day recalibration challenge. You will be given a workbook to work on it. All right? So you will not regret for joining the class. Why I say that is because just ask yourself, do you want to achieve your goals in the shortest time? Do you want to earn more money in the shortest time period? I look forward to seeing you in the masterclass tomorrow. Thank you very much.
All right, and a round of applause to Dr. Rebecca Lee. Thank you very much for sharing with us this great gift. Head on over to scalendo.com/recalibration to join Dr. Rebecca Lee across the 2 days of her masterclass so that you can tap into your inner recalibration code and also to start aligning your inner feng shui and many, many more strategies and frameworks, including the 5 R's as well. The link is in the chat. It's happening at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. GMT +8, starting from tomorrow. Awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Rebecca Lee. And how many of you agree that when it comes to making money, it's not just about making money, but it is also about keeping it as well. Type in keep in the chat if you agree that it's important to not only make money, but to keep as much of that money as possible. And one of the things, that we have is, of course, a tax, right? Tax is one of the things that we all need to pay. But the question is, are we really optimizing our tax in a way and also in a legal way to keep as much of our wealth, our money as possible as well, right? Because up next, we have Lei Beng, who is a director of 4 public listed companies here in Malaysia, and she will be sharing with you how is it that innocent taxpayers don't get into trouble with the authorities, and essentially how is it that you can start your tax optimization journey. So without further ado, let's give a warm round of virtual applause to Lei Beng.
Thank you, Ching Yu, for the kind introduction. Can you all hear me? Okay, my name is Lei Beng. Welcome everyone to my session on income tax for you. What a relief for me now that the tax submission period in Malaysia for individual with business income is just over a few days ago. That's on 15 July. On 16th of July, a friend of my client rang me to ask me to help him to submit the tax return. Just 1 day late. I submitted his tax return that evening. And you know what? He was slapped with a penalty of 20,200 ringgit. That is 10% of his tax payable, even though he had overpaid the tax, because we are required to pay tax in advance. If he came to me on the 15th of July, he would have saved that money. The key takeaway here is that always submit your tax return on time and avoid the late submission penalty. The practice of imposing penalty for late submission is global. It's not only happening in Malaysia. I actually Googled to check whether there are any countries that does not impose penalty for late submission of tax return. And the answer I got, yes, there are only 2 countries. And this is Switzerland and Luxembourg, who actually do not impose penalty for late submission so long as no additional tax is owing. Frightening, right? Let me ask you something uncomfortable. When you hear the word tax, do you feel clarity or confusion? Or I just leave it to my tax agent, which I think many of my partners actually say that my tax agent will handle it for me, but that is high risk. All right. And most people would think that tax is actually quite confusing. Even with my many years of experience, I find that tax is very complex. You just need to know and understand and do it properly. So no worries, if you want to learn more about tax, I'm inviting you to my 2 days tax optimization masterclass happening on 29th and 30th of July from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Right. So for most people, business owners, professionals, or investors, tax is something they deal with at the very last minute with stress, not strategy. And here's a strange part. We work hard to make money, don't we? But we rarely learn how to structure it, to what happens to it after we earn it. So the real question is not how much you make, is how much you actually keep. We heard the same thing yesterday when Cheryl talked about personal financing and Kingston talked about the 55% necessity. It is never about how much you earn. It is about how much you keep. And it is what you need to do to put it to work for you. That leads me to my next subject matter. Most people see tax as a cost, something you want to minimize, you want to avoid, or you just want to get over it. But in reality, tax is not just an obligation. It is a system. When you understand the system, tax becomes a tool, not a burden anymore. The difference between people who struggle financially and those who build long-term wealth is not just income. It is tax intelligence. Yeah. Just to share with you, I have two friends, Amy and Thomas. Both of them earn 1 million ringgit a year. On paper, they look identical. But at the end of the year, Amy felt financially stretched, while Thomas continued to grow wealth quietly in the background. Why? Because Amy treats tax and reacting to it, while Thomas is designing around tax. Amy treats tax as something to handle later, while Thomas treats tax as something to plan before anything happens. Same income, different outcome. What Thomas did differently is that he registered a partnership with his wife as the partner, and he planned every year, taking tax into consideration. It's just one simple shift. Tax is not just about filing. It is about minimizing risk, maximizing legitimate savings, which let you sleep well at night. It's something that we all like, right? To sleep well at night. So it is about structure. It goes hand in hand with the money we earn. Tax touches everything: how we earn, how we spend, how we invest, how we hold assets, and most importantly, it rewards those who plan early, not those who react late. So instead of asking, how do I pay less tax? A better question is, how do I structure my income so tax works with my growth, not against it? That shift alone changes everything. So the truth is, many people don't lose money because they don't earn enough. They lose money because they never learn how money flows after it's earned. And over time, what happened? The gap creates the frustration. You just feel, I'm working harder and I'm not getting ahead. That feeling is not just financial. It is emotional. But effort without progress creates burnout, as shared by Kamala yesterday. Yeah. But clarity creates control, and that's what Dr. Rebecca stressed, that clarity is important. And control creates confidence. So now, before you focus on making more money, just pause and ask, do I understand how my money is structured after I earn it? Am I building income or am I building wealth? Because tax is not the enemy. Ignorance of tax is. Just now I mentioned about tax intelligence. Now I am focusing on ignorance of tax. Yeah. So when you learn to see tax as a system and not a punishment, you stop reacting and start designing your financial future. And exactly what Richard shared with us last night about creating a blueprint of our life. Okay. And here are 3 key takeaways in learning tax. Number 1, be accurate and transparent. Report all your income. Number 2, claim only what you're entitled to and keep all your supporting documents. Number 3, don't react last minute. That's how you will turn your income into wealth and wealth into legacy. Does that sounds good? So far, any question from anyone? If you do, you can type in to the chat box and I'll try my best to answer them. Are you all still listening? Oh, that's good. All clear. Thank you. So if there's no question, I'm just going to wrap up my session. All of us join the Solo Empire, the Scalendo events, and in a few minutes, we'll be attending Karen's Tan option session, which actually creates us opportunity to earn 7 or 8 figures revenue. And we must not forget to use tax as a tool. And do you all want to go deeper and understand how tax works for you? If you want, please type 1 in the chat box. Do you all want? Oh, that's great. All the ones all start coming in. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And that's a good news. Thank you so much. Darren, Welly, Sri, Kihun, Atika, thank you so much for your response. Good news. Come and join my 2 days tax optimization masterclass on the 29th and 30th July, just next week. Thank you everyone for your presence and participation. See you at my masterclass. Over to you, Ching Yu, for more details of my masterclass. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lei Bing, for the sharing. And I guess we have a bit of time. Maybe you could address a couple of questions. Jolene was asking, how do we file for online business taxes? Maybe just a quick share on what's the direction on that.
I don't see the question. What is the question?
Okay, so I'll just repeat it. How do we file for online business taxes?
We just have to include it in our tax return. That means at the year end, when we do a submission annually, then we will report that online income as other income, or if that online is a business income, then we'll report it under the line of business income. So it's only reported every once a year.
Okay, thanks. That's the question from Jolene. All right. So for those of you who are interested in joining Lei Bing's session, who will be covering on the tax optimization, head on over to scalendo.com/Lei Bing to secure your seat. It is happening very, very soon on the 29th till 30th of July. So, the link will be shared within the chat. You can head on over to scalendo.com/Lei Bing to secure your spot. Because when you start learning and discovering the opportunities to generate income in the market from Terrence in a moment, you definitely will want to make sure that you are filing your taxes correctly and keeping the money that you should be keeping in your pockets, because we don't want to be giving the government money unnecessarily, right? And and to optimize our tax legally according to what is required of us, and nothing more than that. So you can see the details within the chat. Head on over to scalendo.com/Lei Bing. You'll learn tax saving strategies for business owners and professionals, smarter structuring for to optimize your cash flow, common mistakes that lead to unnecessary tax payments, and how to protect and grow your wealth legally and efficiently, right? And just from all the sharings that we have learned so far since day one, how many of you are starting to grow and expand your mind when it comes to wealth building? Typing grow in the chat if you are, right? Because it's just so much information and different strategies, frameworks that helps us think about money differently, helps us think about wealth building differently. Because I hope that you can see that how many of you agree that when it comes to building wealth, it is really at the fundamental level about mindset. Type in mindset in the chat if you agree that it is very much about mindset. Because if you do not have the right mindset, we can teach you all the amazing proven strategies that our experts, professionals, and people just like you have already put into action over and over again and generate results. If we don't have the right mindset, then we won't take action, we'll procrastinate, and at the end of the day, we are just leading the same life over and over and over again and wondering, is this all there is to life? But the fact is, life can be abundant, just like how Kamala has shared with us the abundance code. And it all starts with a shift in our mindset. So how many of you are ready to feel that gigantic shift right now? Type in shift in the chat if you're ready to start shifting your mindset to the next level, to the next stage, because we have been sharing with you a lot about mindset, a lot of the frameworks and structures. Right now, we want to take you to the next level on the opportunities and the strategies to start monetizing from the market. And just out of curiosity, how many of you are trading in the market right now? I think regardless of whether it's stocks, options, bonds, so on and so, forex, crypto, just type in me in the chat if you are. If you're not, just type in a 0 in the chat if you aren't. Okay, so I see a couple of me's coming into the chat. Okay, so for those of you who are trading in the market, this will be very exciting for you. And for those of you typing in 0 in the chat, this will be even more exciting for you, because when you start seeing the opportunities that is available in the market every single day, you will be thinking to yourself, oh my God, why have I not heard about this strategy sooner? Because the strategy that will be shared with you, right? That's Richard shared, to earn better than bank interest right now. And in fact, if your money is sitting in the bank, you are on average losing money because of inflation. And how many of you agree that inflation is going crazy right now with what's going on in the Middle East. Type in yes in the chat if you agree that inflation is going really, really crazy right now, okay? And, you know, things has just started heating up once again in the past week. So if you are not earning more than the inflation that you're experiencing, you are losing money if your money is sitting in the bank. So, you know, I have the great pleasure of introducing the next speaker to you. And this speaker, all right, this speaker has been in the industry transforming lives of everyday investors just like yourselves around the region. And his name is Terence Tan, who is the founder of the I'm Possible Investors Investing School and the creator of Asia's first income investing program designed to help retail investors just like yourself generate consistent stock market income without needing large capital. And since 2011, Terence has guided thousands and thousands of students to collectively earn over USD $5 billion in investment income, making I'm Possible Investors one of Asia's most trusted and results-driven investment programs. And how many of you would like to start generating those kinds of results? Give me an R in the chat if you'd like to start generating those kinds of potential results, right? Money in your pocket from the market, just like an ATM machine. Because with over 20 years of experience in stock options, futures, commodities, and Forex, Terence is widely regarded as one of the most well-rounded trading educators in the region. And he has coached DBS Bank Singapore and also lectured in the Diploma in Wealth Management program with Singapore's Entrepreneur Resource Center. And one of his hidden talents is he's actually a former elite athlete. He is a 6-time Southeast Asian gold medalist with the Singapore water polo team as well. So you know this guy has the mindset to be a winner and to be a champion. All right. So Terence believes that stock market success is not rocket science. It's about applying simple, proven processes. And his mission is to help everyday retail traders and investors just like yourself achieve financial freedom through structured mentoring and hands-on guidance, even if you're just starting with a modest capital. So how many of you are excited to start learning from Terence Tan? Type in excited in the chat with all caps in the chat if you are excited to learn from Terence Tan. And for those of you joining us in live stream, you want to be in this room because, okay, this stream will be ending really, really soon when Terence comes up on stage. Head on over to scalendo.com/TGWR to join us. And without further ado, let's give a warm round of virtual applause to Terence Tan.
All right, thank you very much, everybody, and welcome to this webinar right now. So I believe many of you have learned how to protect your wealth, right? But now we get to the juice. Why do I say we get to the juice? Because to protect your wealth, we probably need to generate all those wealth, right? So that it needs that kind of protection. All right, now, so in this session over here, together with me, all right, I'm live with you at this moment. All right, now I'm going to take you right into the markets itself and actually show you what I've developed right over the past 2 years that can take you much way forward in your own financial journey, right, with the new age tools. All right, now, so if you have kept up with times, all right, and I'm not sure as well, but you know, if you have scrolled your YouTubes, if you have scrolled any of your social medias, right, have you come across all these kind of AI ads, right, where, you know, they kind of start showing people with a lot of experience, right, being replaced, right, by the younger generations, all right, okay, now, so AI is coming in, AI is definitely real, all right, but, okay, there is one caveat to it, all right, okay, it's either you treat it as an enemy, all right, or you learn how to work together with it. All right, okay, now, so we must understand one thing, that AI is not here to replace us, but AI is here to help us move ahead, right, with its capabilities, right, if we know how to instruct, right, it to do what we want. All right, now, so trading has always been something very manual. All right, as all of you know, we need to be there, we need to watch the market, we need to click the buttons, right, okay, in order to make those trades and make those money, right? But now, right, with the AI tools that are available to us, right, we can actually start generating tools, right, that can make, right, our entire system automated itself. Right now, so today, right, I'm not just going to share with you the strategy I built. Right, I'm not just going to prove to you how successful these strategies are, right? Not just in the last 1 year, not in the last 2 years, but testing it to show you all the different variations, and they still come up on tops. Right now, I'm doing all this, right, to let you know that everyone, right, has a chance at securing your financial freedom. Right now, I know that many of you are thinking that AI is going to take your job away, right? But AI can also do its part to help you secure what you need most. All right. So in this webinar today, all right, as you read on the screen right now, we're going to learn how to click and collect. All right. Now we're going to show you how you can build your very own automated options income wealth machine. All right. Now, how many of you like the sound of it? If you like the sound of it, can I get you to type L in the chat box right now for me? All right. Okay. Go ahead and type L in the chat box if you like the sound of what I just described to you. Okay. Great. All right. Now, so thank you very much, Judith. All right, thank you, Atika. All right, now, so Alicia, Max, thank you very much. Now, so one thing, if you have heard what I've said very, very clearly earlier. Now, I saw earlier that there are some of you who have no experience about trading or no experience about investing at all. All right, but if you listen very carefully to what I share with you tonight, all right, and you can understand, all right, how this money is being made, right, that's all you need. Why? Because the rest of it, right, is where the automation is going to step in and do the job for you. See how AI helps you? All right, so you don't need to know how to, you don't really need to know how to trade. All right, but with the AI tools available, all right, okay, it will actually help you do the difficult job, all right, while you focused, right, on the amounts, right, that's coming in. Now, but having said that, of course, right, okay, we still need the capital to get AI to do its job. Yeah, okay, now, so let's begin tonight's session. Now, today in this webinar, I want you to stop trying, right, to guess, right, and instead choose to unlock what I've done for you, which is a proven trading framework to deliver one very simple thing, all right, to help you make that $200 a day income. All right, now we're going to start with this goal. And can you make more after that? Yes. But in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, all right, this is my immediate goal for all of you. All right, we're going to go to the stock market together. We're going to figure out how to use this proven trading framework. And we're going to use it to scale the amount of profits that we make day after day after day until we get to that $200 a day goal. All right, why? Because if you haven't figured it out, there are roughly about 4 weeks in a month, all right, and that's about 20 trading days. All right, if you're making about $200 a day, we are talking about $400 a day, $4,000 in extra income by the end of the month. All right, and now let me add a twist to it. What if I tell you that this $200 that you see on the screen, right, is not in ringgits, it's not in Singapore dollars, but it's actually in US dollars. All right, now, so if I can let you in, right, on a source that can generate an additional 4,000 US dollars in income, right, by the end of every month, right, and help you create this consistently, right, in the next 3 months down the road, right, how many of you would love to own this machine as your own? All right, if you do, can you type 200 right now in the chat box? All right, okay, go ahead and type $200 right now in the chat box if you would. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay, good. Now, so we are on the right track. Now, so in order to start any investments, you all know, all right, there is a capital requirement to it. All right. So in this system over here, how much do you really need to actually get started? All right. Now, I'm going to tell you that the minimum, right, for anyone to start this game, right, is actually a minimum of 1,000 US dollars. Can it be done? Yes. Right, but right, investment is also a money game where the more you have to begin with, right, the more you have to benefit from it as well. Right, okay, so while the bare minimum is $1,000, right, if any of you have the comfort of additional or more than that, right, it will always help you do better. Right, okay, now so just pay attention to what I share with you tonight in this webinar, and you'll figure out. Yeah, okay, but the bare minimum to start, right, is 1,000 US dollars. So I believe all of us can do it. Right now, so the whole aim of tonight is one very simple goal. Ladies and gentlemen, right, is for me to show you how you can go out there to make more while doing less. All right, okay, we're going to start figuring out how to take, all these tools that we have today, right, and put it to our advantage by learning how to make more, all right, while doing less. Now, so we're going to put the whole strategy on autopilot right, by the end of this, whole thing itself, when you have learned it, and actually help you reclaim your time. All right, why? Because a lot of us commit to trading. A lot of us commit to learning how to trade stocks, how to trade options, how to trade currencies, right? But we do so in the expense of our own personal time, right? But have you ever paused and figured out, is that what you really want to do? All right, and when many of you kind of sit and pause and think about it, right, you start to realize that, hey, I like what comes out of it, but I actually don't really enjoy the process, right? But in the past, like I said, there wasn't tools that were readily available, right, to help you to do that part. But now that we have, right, we can actually make use of it and help you reclaim your time, all right? And time, with the money that you have right now, you can do whatever you want, all right, and enjoy yourself. That's the key of it. All right, now, so before I begin my session over here, right, I'd like to invite one of my students to lay the groundwork, right, of what all of you are going to be going through, right, over the next couple of months together with me, right, and the kind of transformation that you can be aiming for as well. All right, okay, so let's very quickly listen to what Daryl has to share with all of you, all right, and then we'll begin tonight's journey itself, okay? So here's Daryl and his X Factor journey together with me, all right, when he first stepped in, right, onto this investment world. Here's Daryl, everybody.
I started the bootcamp in March, then in April, 1st April if I remember. I attended the bootcamp in March. Then in April, 1st April if I remember, I did my first live trade and it was a win. And you know what? Despite all the market volatility and tariff news, I still saw wins consistently. It's because the strategy works. And it works straight out of the box. By the time I was close to my 50th trade, I had already achieved 100% ROI. That, my course fees was already paid for. And by the time I hit my 60th trade, the 60-day challenge or 60 trade challenge, I was around 142% of my ROI. All this was while holding on to a full-time job. Because the system was clear, structured, disciplined, and there's no guesswork required. And best of all, there's no sleepless nights. For me, I finally found a mentor who taught me how to fish. And I can apply whatever he taught me immediately. So if you are still searching, my story resonates for you. You need to take the first step. It's going to be the hardest, but it might change everything. Terrence, thanks for everything.
All right, now, so I apologize for the sound, a little hiccup over there, but we got it sorted out. All right, now, so all of you have heard Daryl over here, and I hope, all right, you would like to achieve exactly what Daryl has done. All right, now, so Daryl has joined us much earlier this year. All right, and the reason why he stepped onto this journey, right, was because he saw a strategy that could bring him, right, to a much higher ground. And let me share with you the results of the strategy that we have built, right, for all our students who are in the community right now. Right now, so if you look at this, right, and any trader with a $6,000 capital, right, can utilize the strategy that I built, right, and make for themselves over a 3-year period, right, a $25,000 profit out of that money, right now, and that boasts a 75.6% win rate. Right now, I'm just sharing with all of you this right now because, right, in just the past 2 months itself, right, we have leveled up. All right, and today in this session over here, all of you are going to inherit the leveled up version. All right, now, so all of you should be very excited. Why? Because when I say leveled up, right, it means that what I have right now for all of you, all right, is just not bigger, but it's also better than this system that you're seeing on the screen. Right, and all my current students will also be ported over, right, to the new leveled up strategy. Right, so this is something that I do for my community over here, right? And when you are part of us, right, you will also be enjoying this kind of luxuries. All right, now, so here, ladies and gentlemen, all right, now this test is run over 2,397 trades in total, right, over a span of 3-year period, right? And 1,800 of them, right, have actually ended up as winning trades. Now, so if you think about this entire trading system itself, right, would you have the confidence, right, to trust the system and continue trading it, right, despite hitting a snag? And the answer is yes. Why? Because it is not a test of just 10 trades. It's not a test of just 20 trades where it's random, but it's a test over 3 years of almost 2,400 occurrences, right? And it's proven to work more than 75% of the time. Right, and right now, the new version shows us, right, a win percentage of even up to 88%. Right? How many of you will be excited to build on, right, and inherit a trading strategy that helps you win 88% of the time? Right? If you do, can you go ahead and type 88 right now in the chat box? Right? Double eight. Now, I promise you, when I run this trading system, I didn't plan it, right, to come up with some auspicious number. No, all right, okay, but that is what the results have shown us, right, and that is definitely something really likable, yeah, okay, and something you can build bigger on. Great. All right. Now, so imagine if you can take a $6,000 capital that you have today, all right, and turn it into a $30,000 massive fund, right, by the end of less than 3 years. Do you realize you've not just more than doubled your money, right, but you now have a substantial amount, right, to level up to a newer and bigger ground. All right. So instead of struggling like many of us are right now, right, we now can start breathing a little bit of the air up there. All right, and as we continue to do this, as we continue to run this system and run this machine, all right, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and better. Yeah. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, let's officially begin. Here's your next big opportunity. All right, a new change has actually hit the market. All right, come about 36 months ago. All right, but did all of you know what happened? Do all of you know exactly what we're talking about? Right? Because if you don't, right, tonight in this webinar, you can actually start the benefiting process. Right? I don't want anybody to miss out. All right, and that's why together with Scalendo, all right, okay, we are organizing this webinar to bring you into the know. All right, trust me, there's still many people out there who are oblivious to what the trading markets can do for you. Right, but times have changed, and so has the stock market as well. So if you are able to keep up with times, right, there is actually a lot of new opportunities out there. Now, of course, we've seen it with crypto. We've seen it with AI stocks. We've seen it with now RAM memory stocks. We've seen it with the next wave, which is what? AI agentic stocks, right? Now, but all these are very difficult. Why? Because there's a lot of work when it comes to the research, right? How do you know one company is better than the other, right? Because today, Claude, Anthropic seems the best. But tomorrow, suddenly some, Z.ai in China seems to have done better than them. Right? It's a very difficult process, but today, what I'm going to teach you right now is not just a one-step process, but it's also an evergreen process that once you learn it, right, you can simply replicate it day after day after day. And that's what I like about it so much, right? And that's what many of my students, just like Daryl, you heard earlier, and now Justman, right, totally love about it as well. All right, so Justman has joined us only in December last year. All right, but look at what he has achieved in just his very first month after picking up the strategy. All right, so thank you for introducing the X Factor program, Terence. All right, I've managed to notch 17 consecutive winners, right, out of the last 1 month. All right, now if I get you started on your journey, if I get you started making your first live trade, all right, and you won, that's great. But if I get you to continue doing another 17 trades after that, all right, and you keep seeing that you're winning and winning and winning and winning, what would it do to your confidence? Right? What would it do to your desire, right, to continue to build on it, right, and receive those gains? Because in just the last 1 month, right, his $2,000 funded account has already made him, right, more than $500 in profits. Now, it may not sound a lot, but this student actually made over 25% return in just the last 1 month. And no, not through some schemes, right, where he doesn't know how the money is made, right? Not through some, avenues, right, where you don't even know is it legitimate or not. No, all these are done through the stock market itself. Stock markets where people trade, stock markets where people buy stocks, they are heavily regulated where the money is coming from, all right? And these are regular people just like yourself. All right, now, so what are all of you going to discover inside this webinar? There are 4 things. Number 1, you're going to figure out together with me the fastest and the easiest way for you to not just profit from the market, but make something sustainable. All right, so like I said earlier, even if you have zero experience, even if you're a little bit confused by what I'm going to share with you today, because I'm actually going to show you the strategy itself. All right, but if you let the trading automation take over, you can still trade it and make that money. This is what it's good about it today. Right now, number two, how you can actually set up these trades and start to enjoy, right, a new and leveled up 88% win rate. Right, and I'm not just putting this number. I have all the proofs, right, to actually show you how I got to this result, right, and why you can trust it. Right, and we will be able to help you do this even if you have a complete newbie. All right, okay, number three, how you can do as little as possible, right, and still be able to collect those profits before some of you actually head to bed every single night. Yeah, okay, now, so this would definitely be a good idea, right? Right, hearing those ka-ching buttons, right, before you go to bed, right? Getting that money-making notification on your smartphone, right, before you close your eyes and head to bed every night, right? And lastly, all right, how many of you would like to be able to double your account capital in the next 3 months or less? All right, you may not have a lot right now, but having a lot doesn't matter. Why? Because if you can grow your money, right, then it's all about getting started. Right? You may just have $1,000 right now, but if you can double it in the next 3 months, you then have $2,000. And if you can continue keeping this up, right, you would have $4,000 in no time. All right, I hope you see where we're going, because only you can be the one who stops yourself. Because once I share with you the strategy, once I share with you the result, once I share with you the capabilities, right, there is only you left in the whole equation that would stop you from gaining whatever the outcome is. Right? So think about this at this moment very, very carefully. Right? Because for me, I'm gonna get you started. Right? So here, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you, right, that final chance, right, for 2026 to actually get moving, to turn the ignition on, right, and fire up your trading profit potential for the rest of 2026. Right? We are already more than past the halfway mark. Right? And trading markets have not been easy. Right? It has been outright difficult. It has been outright messy. How many of you agree with me that whole market this year has been one simple word: messy? All right, not Lionel Messi. All right, he's messy enough in the whole World Cup as well. All right, but the word messy. All right, if you agree with me, type 1 in the chat box that the stock market is an absolute mess in the so far in this year. Thank you, Suzanne. All right, now, so for those of you who are new and you don't understand what I'm saying, all right, okay, let me elaborate. Because the market has gone up, it has gone down, it has gone up, it has gone down, it's gone up, it's gone down. But do you know, if I sum it up, the market has gone nowhere since the start of the year. It has gone nowhere, all right? But we have big waves of up and down. And as a retail trader, it is always difficult, right, to suddenly see the market collapse so quickly, right? Because you're left, kind of without knowing what's going to happen next, right? And then you see the market bounce and leave you behind, right? And you try to chase, and then it slams down again, right? So this is what we mean by being very difficult. But together with me and a small group of investors, all right, we were in the know. Let me explain by what we say when we were in the know. Because we were trading the markets, right, in a very different way from what many others are doing. Look, many others are still trying to find the next Micron. Many others are still trying to find the next AMD, right, or the next Intel. Right? That's what they're doing. They're trying to find the next hot stock. And it's never been easy. Because if it's been easy, right, you would see the whole world posting out there how much money they made. But no, we don't. Right? Everybody's trying to attempt to get onto this wave. Right? But the wave is not meant for everyone. But if you're willing to taper down, right, there is actually a much better way for you to gain that kind of same security, right, through little steps. All right, so if I pick your interest over here, right, let's begin. Because the next big opportunity for all of us in the stock market right now, right, has to do with this product that you see on the screen right now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share with you, right, this instrument called 0 DTE options. Right now, type 2. For those of you who have heard of this thing before, right? If you have heard about 0 DTE options before, can you type 2 in the chat box, right? If you don't know anything about it, right, go ahead and type no in the chat box. All right, okay, type 2 or no in the chat box, right? Whichever your case is. All right, so if you know what 0 DTE is, all right, type 2. All right, if you don't know it, all right, type no. All All right, okay, good. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Alicia. Wow. No is good. You know why? No is your first step to honesty, and you let me know, Terence, I don't know what you're talking about. And now I can step in and I can come in, right, to bring you up to the same level. Now, so 0 DTE options are something very simple. All right, okay, think of it this way. It is basically an option that is due to expire within the trading session itself. Right, so today, right, we are looking at the 22nd of July. Okay, agree? Now, so at about 9:30 p.m., right, which is 1 hour from now, the US stock market is going to open. So when we trade 0 DTE options, right, we're going to be trading an option that expires on the 22nd of July. Why? That means that by the end of today's market, by the time the US market closes, this option is gone. Right? It is only good for 1 day. And if you think about it, right, an option that lasts only a single day, does it resemble, right, a same day travel insurance policy? Does it have similar resemblance? Can all of you answer me by typing yes or no? Right, that means, think about it this way, right? From Singapore to Malaysia, we have the tendency to travel between Singapore and Malaysia, and we tend to make day trips as well. Right, so if you're going to make a day trip today, right, you're going to buy a travel insurance just for that few hours where you're going to cross the border. All right, okay, is it something similar to what I just said over here? All right, okay, because I want you to pick your imaginations. All right, because this is what I'm talking to all of you about. Right, and if you can understand where we're going, all right, and you can understand the scenario that I've just put up to you just now, right, you should see where the money is going to come from. All right, and how are you going to make this money? All right, now, so ladies and gentlemen, all right, 0 days to expiration options is taken the whole stock market by storm. All right, and you know what? It has only been around for 3 years. All right, it was something newly created by the stock market. Now, we had options for a very long time. Options has been available for people to trade for more than 30, 40, 50 years. All right, it's always been there. Right, but what the market tested on was on shorter and shorter and shorter expirations, right, to pick people's interests. Right, so just like social media, right, we transform from what we call Facebook and now Meta, right, to Instagram and then now TikTok. Right, what's the difference? Do you realize the difference has to do with attention span? All right, people who are on TikTok these days want the answer in 5 seconds or less. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Swipe. Correct? All right, now, so the market realized this trend about new generation of traders. All right, so what they did was they launched, right, products that have very, very short lifespans. All right, and this proved to be a hit. All right, let me explain why I say this proved to be a hit. All right, because only in the last 3 years alone, all right, I want you to see the kind of liquidity that this product has brought into the marketplace. All right, now, so I'm going to show you one single day just this year. All right, now, and the day you're going to see is April 20th, 2026. Can all of you see that on the screen? All right, if you can see that, can you just type 3 in the chat box to validate what I've said? All right, the date is 20th of April 2026. Type 3 if you can see that. Okay, good. Alicia, thank you very much. Now, so if you look at this over here, right, we're just going to look at a couple of call options, right, which are on the left. Okay, and a couple of put options which are on the right. Okay, I want you to focus on this column that I bracketed in red, okay, on both sides. All right, they represent the volume that is being traded in the just one single session, right? Because I'm showing you when it expired, right, at the end of the trading day. Right, so in just that 1 day alone, right, let me show you how much was being traded. Right, now this one traded a total of 600,000 options. Right, and the next one traded 275,000. Right, and another one 600,000. Right, 600,000, 300,000. Can you imagine this already adds up to more than 2 million? Right, and then we go to the put option side, 700,000, 700,000. Right, we add these two up, that's another 700,000. That's already 2.1 million. All right, adding another 500,000 over here, right? That's 2.6 million put options. Can you see that? I have not even gone further down the list, but just concentrating on a couple of them, right? Did you realize we have a total on both sides right now of almost 5 million options? Now, you may be thinking, Terence, what's the significance behind this? The significance has to do with what options represent, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, one option, okay, that you see on the screen over here, right, actually represents, right, 100 shares. It doesn't represent one share, but it represents a multiple of 100, all right? And we are looking at what we call the SPY options. Now, SPY is basically the S&P 500 ETF stock. Now, are all of you familiar with this term called ETFs? All right, okay, can you just type yes or no in the chat box for me? All right, okay, yes or no in the chat box. Good, thank you very much, Wei Jen. All right, okay, Renee. All right, I'll simplify it for you. All right, now, when you see an ETF stock, it basically represents a basket of things that have been gathered together, right? And you can now trade it as an entire basket. Now, so this is the S&P 500. We cannot trade the whole index, but they have made it into a stock, right? And now by trading this ETF stock, right, you're essentially trading the whole S&P. Right? Is it easier now, Renee, Alicia, and Judith? Yeah, okay, so you're essentially trading the whole S&P index itself via a stock. Okay, now, so I'm summing it up. Now, so you can see that this stock has a value of $700. So when you multiply it by 100 shares, do you realize that the value of one option, right, actually comes up to $70,000? And when you multiply it by 5 million there, do you realize we're talking about billions and trillions of dollars that is being traded in just one stock and one day? How many of you just suddenly realized this and you suddenly went, wow, right? Okay, if this gave you the wow effect, can you just type it out in the chat box, right? That you have realized what I'm talking about, right? You can just go ahead and type wow if you're shocked, right? By not just the amount of volume, but the amount of money that has been transacted in just one single day in one stock. Now, let me go on because statistics have also proven that zero DTE options right now command 60% of the entire options trading volume for the whole market. Right? So this is now the place where people are all congregated at. Right? And would you agree where everyone is right now is also where you have the biggest opportunity to make money. All right, if you agree with me, type 10 in the chat box. All right, okay, where all are gathered is also the place where you can go and find your gold mine. Yes, and that's why I'm bringing you there right now. And the earlier all of you get in, right, the earlier you have a shot at it. All right, and I agree. Some of you are then saying, Terence, isn't this a zero-sum game? Right, it is. But a zero-sum game simply means that there are some who's going to be on the winning side and there are some who's going to be on the losing side. So by being in this webinar, my job is to bring you over to the side you want to be, right? Because, right, if you don't switch, then you belong to this side, right? And is that what you want? Yeah, okay, the stock market is a zero-sum game. I agree, right? They're going to be winners, they're going to be losers, all right? But why are we all here today? Right? Because we have the drive, we have the want, right, to be on the winning side, right? And if my message, if my information and all the tests that I've run, which I'm going to show you later, right, resonates with you, right, then you owe it to yourself to at least give it a shot. Because what do you have to lose? All right, okay, you're struggling right now. You're trying to get ahead, all right, and I'm giving you a lifeline, all right? By rejecting it, is it going to do you any good? The answer is no, right? But by accepting it,